are paddle boards with my name on them, man. They used to just whip the crap out of me. Shocking that somebody would feel like they had to discipline me. Such a sweetheart. I was a pain in the butt. I like to talk. Whoa. And here we are again. Okay, so let's start out by talking about the women's game yesterday. And again, if you're listening to this later in the week and later in the day, and I know that happens, and you say, well, you couldn't get into the quick picks because couldn't get in time. But I think we have it delayed enough. I'm trying to delay them enough. But if you are somebody who is getting this, and all Florida's already played today, you may feel differently, but I don't know that you will. I think what happened yesterday was pretty amazing, and it was weird. It was weirdly happy, sad. I remember I called my daughter and I said, "Man, did you watch the end of that game?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "What are you upset about?" "Well, Kiki." I go, "Yeah, I know." But when they lose Kiki Smith, and I don't think we still know what the extent of the injury is, but it didn't look like it was good. It looked like it was. I always say torn ACL because that's the easy diagnosis from watching it. But who knows what it is. But I doubt if she's playing today. But by now you may already know she made a miraculous recovery and threw her crutches away and ran on the court and won the game. So, but anyway, but what a game that was and what a finish it was. And for Florida to play really bad. I watched this game. And I'm like, maybe Scott Strickland was right when he said, we're holding off on this thing because we want them to focus on this season. And then as soon as they name her coach, not as soon as they did the first interview, they lost. Well, they'd already lost one in a row. Then they lost the next two. And if they had lost this game, it would have been 3 in a row going to the tournament. And again, it would have dropped their seed down. But they found a way to come back and win. They won, as Kelly Ray Finley said, for Kiki, and they're playing Ole Miss at 3:30 today. You may already know the result of that game. It's going to be hard to win without her, but it was hard to win without her yesterday, and that was against the 10th seed. Now they're playing the 4th seed. But I will say this: I think when you saw the emotion of Kelly Ray Finley and the players after the game, and then they had a shot of her walking down the hallway. And just with her face in her hands, basically, you could tell she was crying and she was upset. This was a devastating thing for her because she'd fought so hard with these girls and especially with Kiki, who was her leader. And I think that, now again, I don't know how many young girls around America are watching this. I don't know, at the time it was about 5:15 in the afternoon. I don't know, but I mean, I would think that is something that can be good for recruiting. That you go, this is how much this coach, this is why Florida hired her. They've hired her because she won 21 games now. But the way she got this team to rally and to, don't forget, they lost their leading scorer, their best player. Quote, I cannot put enough sarcastic quotations around that. Midway through the season, and then went on a run, and she's been able to rally him. So I mean, look, I know it's a no-brainer that she's now the permanent head coach, but I think maybe it can pave the way for some even bigger things in terms of recruiting, because my thing is that I sometimes am perplexed, and I've never really explored it or asked anybody or even talked to my friends in South Carolina about it. But how the hell does South Carolina get so good? Well, Dawn Staley did an amazing job. She started getting all the players. Now they're really good. Why is UConn had been this mecca of basketball? Well, they had the right coach. She got the right players, and they win. You can do it anywhere. If you can do it in Storrs, Connecticut, you can win anywhere, okay? If you can do it at Columbia, South Carolina, where they literally have a culture of finding ways to blow things, and you can do it at her level, you can do it anywhere. You can do it in Gainesville. I know the fans don't go out to the games, but you can get them out, and you don't even need them. You can go win without them. I mean, I talk about this a lot with the thing Dan Mullen said a couple of years ago to the Florida fans that I thought was true. Some of them were probably put off by it. It was one of the few things he said that was really off-putting to a lot of people, but in my case, at least I believed it was correct. And that was, we want to win games, obviously. You want to see us win games. But if you come to the games, we might be more likely to win. Don't wait till we win to start coming. But again, most fans are going, nah, I'm going to wait. Nah, I don't like that losing thing. And obviously they started winning. You saw games like the crowd they had for the Auburn game, which in LSU, which were amazing for football. I'm talking about basketball. It will be a huge crowd tomorrow for the men's, but that has not been a crowd that has been always there. The point I'm trying to make is you can win here, and you don't need a tremendous amount of fan support. You'd love it, you encourage it, you want it, but you can do it without it. It's possible. And maybe just kind of this kind of game and what happened there on what day was yesterday, Thursday. I'm forgetting my days. I got kind of confused because yesterday we went, it was kind of cool. For Stop Children's Cancer, I'm on the board, so we wanted to take a picture. They gave I think Dollar General gave $10,000 to Stop Children's Cancer. And all that money that goes to Stop is doing wonderful things. It's really trying to find ways to stop children's cancer and make kids not suffer. It's a big thing in my heart. And so, anyway, don't forget, if you want to donate gift certificates, you know how to get a hold of me, man. It's not hard. I think my number's on the bottom of this thing. All right, so now the men, obviously, on Tuesday night, which is a long time ago. We're not going to talk too much about it, but we do want to talk a little bit about it now that Flam. He's the Flim Flam man. Flan Fleming has become a star, and I don't know that I've ever seen in my lifetime a fall from grace and a rise from the ashes on the same campus like I've seen in the last, so what would it be, 4 months? The fall being Dan Mullen, the rise being Flanders Fleming, who obviously, the Georgia video did not, he shouldn't have gotten in trouble for that, and he shouldn't have apologized for it. We talked about that last week. But, the game against Texas A&M, really, he kind of got the blame for it. And then to score 27 against Georgia in your hometown, and you're excited, and you go, but that was kind of a one-time thing. His whole family was there. He was playing. But then to hit that, it wasn't just that he made the game-winning shot against Vanderbilt. It was that he went down and blocked a shot from behind, a la LeBron, a la Canyon Barry, that would have won the game. The game would have been over if Scottie Pippen just lays it up or maybe dunks it. I don't know why he didn't go for the dunk, but I think he was trying to say, hey, this is it. I got the home run pass. I'm going to lay it up. Game's over. Then he went down the other end and do a no-look pass to Toon Gatkek, to cut the lead to 1, and then hits the game-winning 3. I mean, you can't have a much better finish to a game than that. So congratulations to him, certainly. But we are where we are with the men's basketball team. We don't know what's going to happen. Kentucky coming in. Kentucky's so good. Schwebwe, nobody has an answer for him. Florida certainly is not among the teams that even think they have an answer for him. He is, I've said this before, he kind of reminds me of Wes Unseld, was an old school guy who you said, this guy's 6'8", and he really doesn't jump that high, but he gets every rebound. And he scores like 18, 20 points and gets 15 rebounds in every game. I remember he was the MVP one year for the Bullets. That's who he reminds me a lot of. But, for Florida, it's going to be, and this is I finally have figured out the Florida basketball team here late in this season and late in my life probably. But this Florida basketball team, it is a matter of can you survive your scoring droughts? It's because you're going to have them. When you shoot threes as many as they do, when you have as many turnovers, when you are efficiently not good in offense, that I don't think that's the way you put that, but you're not a good offensive efficient team through stretches, you're going to have these bad runs where you either turn the ball over a bunch or you make mistakes and you don't make shots. And guess what happens? All of a sudden somebody goes on a 15-0 run like Vanderbilt did the other night. Can you survive that? If Kentucky goes on a 9-0 run, 15 minutes into the game, and can you survive it to bounce back and at least cut it to X by halftime? If they go on a run in the second half, and I remember one of the great Florida wins of all time in my mind. I'd put it right up there with some of those NCAA wins, not with the national championship wins. When they beat Kentucky in Atlanta to win their first ever SEC title, and the Kentucky run came, and Florida was able to withstand it. Not only withstand it, and then all of a sudden blew them out. That's what they have to do. Here's the interesting thing about that I was kind of curious about. So I went and looked it up today. Florida's opponents, Florida's strength of schedule is not that great, and the biggest reason it's not that great is because they scheduled Power 5 teams that they thought were going to be good that turned out not to be great. And this is bringing down their net ranking. And I just want to give you an example of this. Florida State is 99th in net ranking. That's not helping you. That win at home against number 99 FSU isn't helping you. At the time, it was huge. And they were ranked 20th in the country. Cal, they beat Cal, 139 is their net ranking. It's not helping you. Obviously, Ohio State at 21 does help you as a non-con. But Oklahoma at 46, Maryland at 86, Oklahoma State at 50. This is a good schedule they put together. It hasn't worked out well. That's the problem. And there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's the way it always works out. All right. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Obviously, we'll get to baseball. We'll get to all the other great stuff, Hesser and Kipke games of the weekend, our Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. I may have given it away already. Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks. Hand-law 3 things, this, that, and the other. And if we have time, Pat Dooley's story time. Also, if we do get Kevin Carter and we're able to work this out, Big Mill's cheesesteaks, yes, no way, or maybe, which we always love. All that is coming up and more when we return on Another Dooley Noted Podcast, brought to you by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Ribco To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out. quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hi folks, Big Mill here bringing you the sandwich of the month for February. I know I'm a little late. It's been extra busy here in the store and out and about doing some events. This month we kept it a little simple. I joined the wars, the fried chicken sandwich wars, folks. We got in it. It's a fried chicken sandwich with pickles, Big Mill sauce on our wonderful, famous Martin's potato roll. It comes with fries, folks. Something a little bit different this month. Order it with fries. Come on down and see me at Big Mills. It's street food dining and it's fun.
Okay, and welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan Another Long Gator Studios at these Our guest was here. It was so great to see him. He still looks like in fact, he looks just like that poster behind me right there. Kevin Carter joins us. What's going on, my man? No, hey, so like you won a Super Bowl with the Rams, right? So when they win the Super Bowl this year, are you excited or are you? Well, that was the St. Louis Rams. I mean, that's not the L.A. Rams.
Been very successful and won a lot of games, but only a few world championships, and one of those proudly is from the St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, also the Bucks won last year, and that was one of your teams too. So is it what? I guess who should be up next? The Titans to win this year? Yeah.
They've got weapons everywhere, but you've got to get someone who touches the ball every play to be a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, and I guess what's his name is going to be available now too from the. I blanked on his name from the Cowboys, wide receiver.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting as well. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. But let's talk about when you were getting recruited to college because, nowadays Florida is really ramping up the way what they do with recruiting, and of course, a lot of it takes place right here at Steve Spurrier's and Advisors. But I mean, they go and pick these kids up in their hometown and drive to the airport and stuff like that. I mean, when you were being recruited, I don't think it was quite that level, was it?
No, it wasn't quite that level, not of individual attention. I mean, when you flew to your visit, they sent you a ticket. Your mom's rushing you to the airport, and it's a little bit more, it's a lot less compartmentalized as far as the individual treatment. But these teams got to keep up with the arms race. They got to keep up and wow these kids to get them onto the campuses. And now with the new adage of the name, image, and likeness, being legal for amateur athletes, that's a huge thing right now. And there are entire departments, University Athletic Associations, who will dedicate an entire smidgen or portion of their recruiting process to letting these players know what they can do for their name, image, and likeness, and making them money and maximizing that platform they have within college. And that's going to be a big selling point as well. So there's so many aspects of the college recruiting game that just weren't there, 35 years ago when I was getting ready to go to school.
Yeah, do you ever sit there and think? I mean, your son's obviously at school. I'm sure he's not getting a lot of NIL money up at Dartmouth.
No, the Ivy League's a little different.
But what you could have done here when you were at Florida during those 4 years?
Oh man, definitely could have cleaned up. Could have made some money. Could have made some real cash. Could have had a car. Could have done a lot of things. But just like I think I talk in parables sometimes. My dad always, is a deacon in a Baptist church. So, he tells me that, everything may be permissible, but not everything is beneficial. I think it's a great thing that will help out a lot of people. It will elevate a lot of kids, out of the situation that they're in, respectively. But I think the focus changes, in college, the camaraderie, the spirit of the game. We're seeing a lot more free agency type movements with, the whole grad transfer, and with COVID and all these, moves making it easier for players to go. Like, I'm all for it. Okay. I'm all for the jockeying and changing and reloading your team and keeping up with the arms race and everything else. But, being an amateur athlete, having that hunger to get to the next level, having that goal, dream of a lifetime, it's going to change some destinations of some people, but it will reward along the way some of the efforts that a lot of these student athletes have made and sacrifices they made over the years. They'll be able to reap the benefits and sort of kick off and kickstart their life maybe with a little cash in their pocket for their efforts. So the universities have been making billions over years off these athletes. So I'm glad they're getting a share of the pie.
I was thinking about this the other day. We ought to have a University of Florida former athletes sportscasting Hall of Fame, because when you think about it, I mean, I can't watch anything without seeing a Gator. I mean, Steffi Sorensen is doing the women's right now as we speak.
Yep.
We know what Doring has been doing and what obviously Jesse and all you guys. Is there any kind of fraternity between you guys that all you guys have been doing with the work you're doing at CBS Sports?
We've got some pride. We've definitely got some pride when it comes to it. There's a little bit of a fraternity. We talk about it, and I run into different people all the time. I mean, I was on with Lauren Shahadi. I was on, used to, work with Laura Rutledge. I'm walking through a Super Bowl party, the EA Sports party years ago in Dallas. And some blonde, some beautiful blonde woman is screaming at me, and she's like, "Go Gators! Kevin Carter, go Gators!" And I'm like, who is this? Who is this? And I'm like, oh, she's blonde. She works for Fox. Erin Andrews. Oh my goodness, that's Erin Andrews. I'm like, I didn't know she was a Gator. And, there's all these people that, in the business of broadcasting, a lot of us have done well. And it's sort of a point of pride and a point of cockiness that we talk about, there's no place like University of Florida. And, we think we're better.
Well, but I mean, do you think that it's not an accident that not only the players, the athletes that they've recruited over the years, but the way they are able to deal with a great media like me? I mean, obviously that that could basically have started your career as a sportscaster because you got to deal with me. But
Yeah.
but all kidding aside, but you get such a great education at UF, and if whatever you want to be good at, it doesn't have to be football, but it can be football and other things.
Yeah, you know what, and you just hit it on the head. It's not about what you're doing specifically. It's just about the greatness that flows through your hands. It's about the sharpening of the iron sharpening iron. It's about the environment that exists at the University of Florida. There's a reason that so much success comes from this school, not just in academics, not just in athletics, but we see it in all walks of life. We see, Olympians, we see scientists, we see people in the business world, we see people making discoveries to help, this world that we live in. But yeah, I mean, I truly believe that being at the University of Florida, being in that intense competitive environment where everyone was fighting and clawing for their piece of relevancy, and that type of competition, especially with a young coach and young man named Steve Spurrier, he inspired that. It didn't matter if you were a freshman or a sophomore, junior. If you could play, you were going to play, and that was it. And knowing you had that flexibility of upward mobility and to be able to shine made everyone that much more hungry, and it made everyone compete that much more to get a piece of the greatness that was Florida football. That was the University of Florida.
I'm wondering what you think when you walk into this place, Spurrier's Restaurant, because even then, like, he was a big deal then, but
right.
He didn't have a big restaurant right on the interstate then, and it's just an unbelievable place.
He deserves that. He deserves that. If anyone in college football, and you speak to the people who have truly laid down legacies at universities, he's in rare company, and in terms of long tenured, long standing head coaches who have had that much success. I mean, he's in a very small group of people who have accomplished what he's done, and just the perception to college football. I mean, there's different milestones that we reach, benchmarks, in the evolution of the game, and that was one of them. Early 90s, man, no one was throwing the football like we were. No one had the type of innovation on offense that we did, and no one coupled that with just the horses on defense, the defensive speed and athletic talent that Steve Spurrier was able to assemble. He deserves a restaurant. He deserves a benchmark. People that come to Gainesville, they need to know our history. They need to know about the golden age of Florida football. And it was ushered in when a man named Steve Spurrier came. Not that we weren't great and had good players before, but the early 90s, man, we set it off. I mean, winning 3 out of 4 SEC titles when I was there. Danny, of course, is holding it over my head because Danny Werfel's there, and he's 4 for 4 in the SEC. But
Danny
no one does that.
He can't take credit for 93. He can't take credit for that. That was a little Terry Dean action there.
He was a part-timer.
That's right.
He was a part-timer. But he deserves that. It's a wonderful restaurant. I was there the other night for the first year coaches award, and it was truly an honor to be there. But those types of things, they mean more the further we get away from them. And seeing you and seeing Danny and Shane and Chris Doring and all of us, and then seeing the young guys, seeing the Townsend brothers, and it was a great affair. And like I said, he deserves that. It's a great place, and what a statement of just the greatness that is Florida football, and it pays homage to who started it.
By the way, I was curious because there's all this talk today about the combine going on, and what does this guy measure? What is he lifting? What is he doing? So I looked up yours. Your hands are 10 inches 5 1/8. 5 1/8. Yeah. That's pretty big.
Yeah, I'm pretty big.
You could play guitar, man. I can tell you that. And then you see a quarterback who's got, like Pickett, who's got these little tiny. But that's what Rex had. Rex had those little baby hands. But somehow he just make things happen. But occasionally he would fumble because he had little small hands.
Mm-hmm. The measurables that go into, trying to predetermine what people are going to do and the type of success that they'll have on the next level is really not an exact science. But the combine really is a great tool, because not only does it give you a chance to actually see the athletes compared, black and white, pure athletic ability alongside one another, but it also tests their ability to get up for an occasion. Because that's what the NFL is. The NFL is about the grind, but it's about, man, you have to turn it on. You got to find a ferocity that walking around in general public will get you thrown in prison. Like, you have to find an aggressiveness, have a violence in you, and you got to do it for 17 weeks during the regular season, right? And those who can do that, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the person who can turn it on. They're looking for the person that looks at guys that are lined up that look just like them, and all the measurables are the same, but somehow I'm going to win. That's what they want, and that's what the combine is for. It's a great tool. It's fun to watch as well.
I don't think Evan Neal, anybody's measurables are like him right now, who may be the first pick in the draft. We'll see. But I'm wondering if you remember what you ran, because it's according to Wikipedia, what you ran your 40 in.
You know what? I think I ran like a 4.7 or 4.6 something.
4.66.
4.66. There we go. So yeah.
Also, what was your weight at the combine?
Oh, I was 280, 275, 280. So
well, that's good. 274 is what they registered.
Okay. Yeah.
So you might not have eaten at McDonald's. And then how tall were you and are you? Has it changed?
You know what? I swear I shrank a little bit because my son towers over me, but I guess I was 6'6" at the time, maybe 6'5" and a half or 6'5" and 7/8, something like that.
6'5" and 7/8. That's pretty good. Or 5/8. I'm sorry.
5/8.
I looked all this stuff up just for you. By the way, your
That's
son
awesome.
is playing for Buddy Tevens up there, right?
He is. They've won the last two Ivy League championships. So he is having a great time. This is his year. He had a bit of a they had the COVID glitch where they canceled the entire Ivy League season. So he had 4 seniors in his tight end room that came back for their senior season that they didn't get. And so he was frustrated and kind of sitting behind, a couple of guys and really deserved to play. But, it's a numbers game. But so this is his year. So hopefully they'll bring home another Ivy League title. So he's having a great time majoring in economics and finance up there, and really, really proud of him.
I talked about it the other day, actually trying to get a helmet from him, and he's going to send us a helmet for our golf tournament, which we appreciate.
That's awesome.
That. We get about 8 to 10 signed helmets, and it's always kind of cool to see some of the different ones. But he certainly has done a great job there. All right, before we let you go, we've got to play. We don't have to play. We like to play. Yes, No Way, or Maybe. It's sponsored by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Street fining at its finest. If you go down to Big Mills Cheesesteaks and tell them you listen to the Dooley Noted podcast, you get free fries with the order. How about that? You can't beat that,
I'm gonna test that theory.
All right, number 1, the Rams repeat next year. Your Rams.
No, that's false. Is a yes, no, true or false? Is that it?
That's no way. Is what that is. Yeah.
that is an absolute no way. Look, winning a Super Bowl is like lightning in a bottle. Everything has to be right. You can't even have someone having baby mama drama. Even that'll throw you off at the wrong time. So they had a great team this year, and they were really top to bottom collectively built for it. They went out and got what they needed, having a Von Miller with a presence on the defensive line, with an Aaron Donald, having that much depth up front of pass rushers, and having Jalen Ramsey in the secondary, and that offense with all the different weapons. It's a great moment in time, but I'm hard pressed to think that they'll put it together and do it all again.
They don't win without my guy though, Cooper Kupp. Man, I love that guy. He saved my fantasy team all year, and I fell in love with him. And then watching him in the playoffs when I don't have a fantasy team, I'm like, I like him even more now.
Yeah,
I mean, he was amazing.
A cheat code. Guy's a cheat code.
He's a good example of hard work too. He should be an example that every player looks at for how hard he works at it. All right, number 2, Texas A&M wins the West this year in the SEC in football.
That's a tricky one. I can't ever put my money betting against Nick Saban. That's the thing. The SEC West is one of those things but they have Alabama's number. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Hayes King
Yeah.
had an unbelievable year. This defense has been, top 2 or 3 in the SEC for the last 2 seasons. They're going to lose a little bit up front on defense, but let's see if, Mike Elko with that defense can keep things retooled. You're going to lose guys like DeMarvin Leal up front that's going to go pro. So you're going to have some replacement guys. You've got some good skill positions. You've got arguably Jalen Weidermatter is the best tight end. Is he coming out this year? Is just Weidermatter leaving? Yeah. So you're going to have to replace a tight end who was a leading receiver on this team. So I'm just hard pressed, man. And Alabama's got a quarterback of their own who's pretty darn good.
I heard he was pretty good. Yeah. I
he's
may
pretty
have voted
good.
for an award.
He kind of makes the difference, and he's as good as advertised. As great as Alabama has been over the years, and as great as we think Tua and Mac are, this young man is better.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think there's any question. And finally, number 3, another of your former teams we're talking about, Kyle Trask will be the Bucs starter next year.
Yes, why not? I think Kyle Trask he has really excelled in terms of development. And you talk about people like Cooper Kupp that work their tails off. He's got the hard work, and he also has the collective football IQ, and he has experience weathering the storm of ego and waiting behind, what is perceived to be greatness or better than you. And he's done that. And then when he did get his chance, he took it and he ran. He choked the life out of his opportunity, which I love everything about Kyle Trask. So he's got a golden opportunity and a great offense that's really tailored to what he does well, and pushing and driving the ball downhill. He's a big, strong quarterback with the arm strength to make every throw in the offense. And I think he's tailor-made for what, Bruce Arians wants to do with that offense.
By the way, have you met Billy Napier yet? Have you been able to have any interaction with him?
I haven't met him personally yet, but it is in the works. He reached out initially when he first got the job, through social media, and direct messaged me, followed me, wrote me a nice note. I wrote him a note back. He was, he's really big on the culture, and that was kind of my big thing. What are you going to do for this Florida football culture of ours? And you talk about, I'm talking to Danny, I'm talking to Shane, I'm talking to people who, were part of this program, when it had, probably the best reputation for integrity and the way you play the game and who you are off the field. And it really reflects, from your head coach. It's really the example that he sets and what he allows in terms of discipline on your team. And not that's not a knock on the Florida teams we've had since then or whatever, but man, I'm like, you got to build it the right way. And I hear good things about Billy Napier, and so far, I mean, when I had a conversation with Danny Werfel the other night, and I talked about him, and I said, what's he like? And he's like, he opened the doors, let me be a fly on the wall, had a complete itinerary for me to engage with players and be present for meetings and everything else. And I'm like, man, I got to go visit Florida. I got to go. Maybe he'll let me be a fly on the wall and hang out like Danny did. But it seems that he's, encouraging that engagement from former players, encouraging what reinforces, what good programs and the integrity and the history that you come from. The players need to know that. When I was there, I looked up to guys like Trace Armstrong and Emmitt Smith and Huey Richardson and those guys that came before me. That's what I was trying to emulate. We were trying to outdo what those guys had done who came before us. And so that's what it has to be about. That's how you pay it forward. And that's how you continue to perpetuate a championship program.
One of the best to ever play here, one of the best to ever play in the NFL, 104.5 sacks. I don't mind mentioning that often, trying to get you in the Hall of Fame. But and obviously one of the best announcers out there. And it's always great. It was so great seeing you Monday. It's so great to have you on the show again today. And thanks so much for joining us, Kevin. We appreciate it.
Hey, anytime. Thank you so much, Pat. It's great to catch up with you, and go Gators.
All right. Go Gators, yeah. All right. So we'll be back with more on Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Of course, we got all of our fun stuff that we do in the second hour. We that was a really cool yes, no, or maybe with Kevin Carter. I'm sure that Keith Miller over at Big Mill is going to be happy to know that was who we did it with. So we'll be back after we take this break here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident?
Anytime, Pat. Anytime.
When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he has just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Hi folks, Big Mill here bringing you the sandwich of the month for February. I know I'm a little late. It's been extra busy here in the store and out and about doing some events. This month we kept it a little simple. I joined the wars, the fried chicken sandwich wars, folks. We got in it. It's a fried chicken sandwich with pickles, Big Mill sauce on our wonderful, famous Martin's potato roll. It comes with fries, folks. Something a little bit different this month. Order it with fries. Come on down and see me at Big Mills. It's street food dining at its finest.
Okay. Welcome back to another edition, or not another edition, but another segment of this show on a Friday. It's a kind of a weird Friday because there's a level of excitement, and Kentucky, and there's also some other stuff going on this weekend, as it always is here. And luckily, Reagan has been able to hang in there with some issues that we've had. And I hope everything came out good. If it didn't, he did his best. But it seemed like it went pretty well. And we love Kevin Carter, and we love to have him on the show. I could go my whole career with just having Steve on Monday and Kevin on Friday. It's just so great. All right, we have a lot of things to get to, including our first thing, which we are going to talk about right now, the games of the weekend. They are brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklaw.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. A lot of stuff going on this weekend. starting with tonight. Well, starting with today. And again, if you're listening to the show tonight, you already know what happened, but the women are playing at 3:30 against Ole Miss. How big a game is it? It's not gigantic. I mean, they're in the tournament. They're probably a 6 seed after getting that win over Vanderbilt. Can they move up to a 5 if they beat Ole Miss? Maybe. I don't know that it makes that big a difference. But without Kiki Smith, this team is obviously not going to win the SEC tournament. They have South Carolina next. But who knows? That's sports, right? But then, of course, tonight, 7 o'clock, Florida at Miami. It's sold out. These people are ready for the Gators. They want to beat their butts. They hate them, and Florida hates them. I hate them too. And nobody hates them more than Jeff Cardozo, though. And that is a game you got to hear Cardozo do in the game, because he at some point he will go off at them. He putting up with Jim Morris was too much for him. So we got that tonight. And the basketball games, the Saturday national game to me is Duke, North Carolina, just for the obvious reasons. It's not that great a game. I mean, North Carolina is on the bubble of the tournament. In fact, can you imagine North Carolina getting into the tournament because they beat Mike Krzyzewski in his last home game ever? I think I might root for North Carolina for that reason. It's a better story. Duke's got a really good team, though, and North Carolina does not. They're like Florida. They play good sometimes and not good. So that's the national game. The SEC game is not here. It's a big game for Florida, and it's a somewhat big game for Kentucky. But the bigger game is Arkansas at Tennessee, because I think Arkansas can still win a share of the SEC championship. I think. I may be right about that. I may be wrong, but those are two really good teams. And again, I'm staying with my theory that the SEC is going to win. They're going to go football, basketball back to back. Now, obviously, they've done it before. A little school called the Florida Gators, I believe it was, that won back to back for obviously football and basketball. But in this case, I think it'll be the same deal, and it'll be different teams. Though I think it'll be like Kentucky or Arkansas or Auburn or maybe even LSU and maybe Tennessee. I think they all have a chance. Alabama's just too shaky. So you got that going on. And then the late night game that we always like to give you a good late night game, USC at UCLA is a good game. Two top 20 teams, both be in the tournament and obviously be really good. Not only that, but you have Bay Hill this weekend, which is kind of where, to me, mentally, the golf tour starts at Bay Hill. The Arnold Palmer, I've been there many times, played the course several times. It just feels like that's where the year is starting for golf. So we got a lot of stuff going on, as always. Softball is hosting its tournament this weekend. Boy, that was weird when they lost Wednesday. That was kind of a strange, because I was at the baseball game Wednesday, and obviously parking was not ideal, as we always knew it would be. But Florida tied it up in like the 5th or 6th inning. And we're sitting there watching the game, and all of a sudden you hear this roar come up from the softball field. Unfortunately, they lost that game to Southern Miss, which was a little bit of a surprise. But they've got theirs going on. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and we appreciate Hesser and Kipke for bringing us the games of the weekend as well as the Monday spreads, which we're going to come up with something new, because we're going to be out of spreads. Although I will say we can go through the NCAA tournament with it. We'll have spreads, and they'll be set earlier. Normally, right now, for example, it's hard to do anything that's not being played on Monday, because they don't set odds for basketball. And I think I've said this before, until the day of the game. So, but anyway, we appreciate Hesser and Kepke so much, and all the great stuff they do for our. In fact, poor Ken Hesser. He asked me about getting in the tournament. I said, Ken, I wish I could get you in, but it's beyond full. I'm keeping friends out. I'm keeping family members out. All right. So that is that. The Hesser and Kipke games of the weekend. And again, thanks so much to Ken Hesser and Jennifer Kipke over there. Let us go to the Adams Ribco Gator of the Week. And just met with Adam last week, or I guess it was this week. I don't even know. My days are. And to talk about the golf tournament and, of course, the sponsorship here, and we appreciate it. And, man, Cannot go wrong getting some Adams Ribco to go over there on 43rd Street. I'm so glad they put that in over there. Why have I been leaning like this all day? Do you have any explanation for that? All right, so the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week, it was Flan Fleming. Look, you make the game-winning shot. Now, I could have easily argued for a lot of people on the women's basketball team with what they did yesterday, and you can argue with me that, and you may be right. And that was an unbelievable gutty effort. But for Flan Fleming to do what he did, and to win that game, because if that shot clangs off the rim again, like it did at Texas A&M, and Florida's pretty much done. Then you beat Kentucky, and you're kind of in the bubble. You've got those 3 really good wins, but they're right now. That's where they are. They're in a great spot if they win this game. If they don't win this game, I think they have to win 2 in the tournament. But Flanders Fleming, who was a villain just a few weeks ago, is now the Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week. So he should be happy with that. Let us talk about, I tell you, we'll keep it on basketball. Leonardo's a Millhopper quick picks. We have people that have not qualified yet because they picked Florida to win 2 games in the SEC women's basketball tournament. Obviously, that game, may know the result, but those of you watching this show live don't know the result yet. We'll find out what it is later. But we do want to give you Florida, Kentucky. Now, I'm going to give you some points. I looked it up because, this is an example of where you can't find out what the spread is right now. You have to wait until later in the day. But I looked last game they played against Kentucky at Kentucky. They were 9.5-point favorites, Kentucky was. And Kentucky won by more than 9.5. I'm giving you 6. I'll give you Florida and 6 against Kentucky, and that is the best way to qualify. Don't forget, next Friday, Robbie Andrew will be in here. We will pick a winner for our latest Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks, and actually going to go meet with Kyle, I think next week, and Joe Calorio from Titan MRI to kind of finalize a lot of the early preparations. It's like Billy Napier kind of has these 8 phases, and I do too. I have 8 phases. Set a date is number 1 for the golf tournament. Then there's this, and there's that. So anyway, yeah, I know you guys are tired of hearing about the golf tournament. All right, it is time for Hand Law 3 things you're never tired of hearing about Hand Law and the great work they do. 3 things is presented by Hand Law, Florida law firm which helps clients with government. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Number 1, maybe those stopwatches are a little fast up in Indianapolis. I don't know. These guys running ridiculous times. I saw where the wide receiver from Ohio State, Olave, ran a 4-0 or whatever it was. But the funny thing is, they give you that time and everybody freaks out. Oh, man, and then they go, we went back and looked at it. We adjusted it. I don't know how they do that. I know when a guy's fast, okay? I can watch him. I don't have to see his time. I can watch a guy and go, that guy's fast. That guy's not fast. Tom Brady, not fast. He's just not. There are other people that are fast. So I think you ought to be able to do it with a lot less than what they're involved with there. But the fastest was the guy from Baylor, Tyquan Thornton, who I'm not real familiar with, and that makes me sad that as much as football as I watch, he ran a 4.21, and then they adjusted to a 4.28. He's fast. That's all you got to do. Here's his scouting report. Fast. Now, can he go catch? And if you go on Gators Wire and read the thing I did yesterday about what I think Florida needs in the transfer portal, numbers 1 and 2 were fast receivers because they didn't have any this year. They need fast receivers, okay? All right, so you can read that at Gators Wire. I'm all over the place. All right, number 2, the Coach K home finale tonight. How much would you pay for a ticket to go to that? Maybe $100, maybe. No, the cheap seats are going for $3,400. I heard today they were actually going higher. The best seats are going for as much as $50,000. Now, I wouldn't pay $500 to go see that game. First of all, may not be a good game, and I mean, I like Coach K. Okay, I think he can be kind of a jerk. I think there's a lot of things he does really well, and it is monumental history. But don't forget, the season's not over. This isn't his last game. It's his last game at Cameron. I've been to Cameron. It really is a shrine. It really is a cool place. I love it. Loved it when I was there. I was there to see Florida play one time. But he's still got an ACC tournament and the NCAA tournament where they're probably the only team that can represent the ACC and give them any chance. So there's a lot going on. A bigger deal would be to pay $50,000 to go see Duke in the finals of the NCAA tournament in Coach K's last game. That would be good because this ain't his last game. Okay, and never use the word ain't. I tell my daughter that all the time. All right, and finally, number 3. Oh, by the way, do you know who his first win was against as a coach at Duke? At Cameron Indoor? Stetson. The Hatters have that going for them. All right, finally, number 3, Matt McCall was fired yesterday by UMass, and it just broke my heart. I hated to see that because he's such a good guy. It just didn't get it done there. I mean, maybe, wasn't the ideal job for him, but it did seem like a good job for him. But he's been so kind to me in terms of our tournament. Again, bring that up again, but other things too. Love the guy so much. But anyway, I feel bad that he got hired. He'll get a job somewhere. I mean, I think his buyout was only like $800,000, and you go like, only $800,000? I'd retire. Somebody gave me $800,000. And finally, I'm not going to get to Pat Dooley's story time tonight. We're going to save that for another day. But what we do want to talk about is this, that, and the other. We always love this, that, and the other. Of course, it's sponsored by the great folks at Ironwood, by where I'm getting ready to go, actually, go play some golf. By our good friends at Ballyhoo. We love Bill Reichert over there. And I was in there the other day and actually found out that we were going to be able to get some stuff from an Oklahoma fan who's a great guy, and I see all the time in there. He's getting us some stuff as well. And, of course, by Darshak Insurance. So all these sponsors, we love them so much. They do such good work for us. If we can get Pat Dooley's Story Time sponsored, we cannot ignore it. We have to do it, okay? So I think it's a good idea, but I don't think I've been able to sell it so far. Okay, Billy Napier has come in here and changed everything up, and not just the culture, but we're talking about the staff and all the people he's got with recruiting. We've talked about this, I don't want to say ad nauseum, because Gator fans want to hear more and more about it. So that's this. We've seen the early parts of this. That is that I think it's this weekend, they have 3 of the top 5 defensive backs in the country all on campus at the same time. That should tell you a lot, that what's going on there. These people know what they're doing. Now, they're going to have to close on a class, but they know what they're doing, whether it's Katie Turner or anybody over there. They have an understanding of what they're doing, and they really are doing good. Oh, but the other is, here's another thing for you. Maud Black is the new secondary coach at Lakeland, where a lot of great players are every year in and year out. Now he's their secondary coach. And, hey, you might want to think about Florida. Ahmad. We'll get him on. I don't know if we can get Ahmad on now. Would he be an agent of the university? But we've had him on twice, I think, already. So that's great. Appreciate Kevin Carter so much for being on today. Great job. Coach Spurrier will be on again Monday. When I'm on these radio shows all over the nation, they go, yeah, you're doing a podcast. I go, yeah. I have Coach Spurrier every Monday. They go, wait a minute. Whoa, time out. You buried the lead. You get Spurrier every Monday? Yes, I do. I am the luckiest man alive. And, of course, he is sponsored by Meldon Law, as well as our studios are sponsored by Meldon Law, the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Thanks so much to Titan MRI. It's time to get out of here. Reagan got through this, and I don't know how he did it, and he's going to go home and have a beer, and I'm going to go play golf. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley saying I am deep, I am way back, and I am out of here.